Hey YouTube, what's going on? So there was a lot of success in some of the past videos talking about things that you should have around you, maybe in your home when you're sleeping, and various other types of situations. You may want to have certain types of gear. And so in this video, let's talk about when you're in your car, and let's say that you're the driver, and what are the things that you would like to have or in your mind are fairly necessary to have within arm's reach? And so I thought about this and looked at my own vehicle and came up with a small list of some things that I do. And this may help you. And if you have different ideas, feel free to share it in the comment section below. So the first thing that I always bring is a water bottle. And, it's typically about a 1 liter water bottle full of water. And so that helps me, stay hydrated and to keep my mouth moist. And basically, sometimes different times of the year where I live, the weather can be a bit cold. And because of that, we're running heaters, the wind's going and get chapped lips. And so I just keep a water bottle. The next thing would be a fire extinguisher. I have a very compact fire extinguisher mounted under and right behind my passenger seat, but it's actually within arm's reach. I can lean over and get it. And so I wouldn't suggest, though, to have a fire extinguisher just thrown in your car. You'd probably want it mounted because if you're ever in a car wreck, you don't want that being catapulted and maybe hitting you or hitting someone else. So a fire extinguisher. And I'd get one that has the ABC rating, that's kind of a multi-use, multi-purpose fire extinguisher. The next item would be a seatbelt cutter. This is awesome. Sometimes they're called like web cutting tools, strap cutters. If you don't have access to any of that, or you don't have money for a very much dedicated strap cutter or a seatbelt cutter, then just, basically whatever type of knife that you have would probably work. They make all kinds of rescue tools that have more of a rounded off, blunted tip, and it's made to kind of get underneath of a seatbelt. They also have seatbelt cutters that are built into various folding knives. So that could be options for you. This is, of course, depends on where you live, but where I live, you can have a firearm on you and in your vehicle. And so basically I would like to have, besides the firearm that I keep on my person for personal protection, an additional firearm when I'm actually driving the vehicle. And of course, you just place that wherever is appropriate for your vehicle. It could be under your seat. It could be mounted under your steering wheel, in the console, whatever works for you. I also like to have my phone accessible. Now, phones can be very much a distraction. So there's times that I actually mute the phone just because I typically get a lot of phone calls, a lot of texting, a lot of emails, and even because I have 2 YouTube channels, I get bombarded with messages pretty much nonstop, day and night. And that's cool, but then at the same time, I don't want that taking me from driving safely. So I have my phone right there next to me, but I don't typically have it either on, or if it is on, it's muted. The next thing would be like a notepad, or you could just have a few pieces of paper folded up and stored like in your console of your vehicle with a pen or two. I think it'd probably be really safe to have a pen and a pencil, just in case your pen ever ran out or whatever. And these are going to be really good in case you ever got lost and you need to write down directions, or if you get into a wreck and you need to be able to write, some of the information, who ran into you, or parties, names, different things like that. So there's a whole medley of different reasons why you'd want to have a pen and paper, because maybe your cell phone doesn't work and you need to write down information. I like to keep an umbrella and a rain poncho for obvious reasons. And so that could be something. And, I kind of keep it in the door of my vehicle. I have this compartment, the storage compartment bin in the door, and I just keep those kind of things. And I also keep in that door, some tissues. There's a lot of times, when you're driving, you may sneeze, you may cough, you might have a runny nose, and it's like the worst thing when you're driving. It's like you may be on the highway, and it's not like you can just like stop the car and address the issue. So having something you can just kind of grab instinctually that's not very much of a burden to do so, it's going to be really a safer way to go about driving. The next thing would be a flashlight. And that's kind of like in my vehicle, there's a compartment that's right under the radio in the dash. And I try to keep like a light there and a blade in there. But the light, though, definitely a good battery powered flashlight. Some people I know had those like hand cranked flashlights. I mean, they might be better than nothing, but some of those they don't really put out a lot of power. So you definitely want something that has at least a little bit of throw and flood. The flashlights that come in so many different types. And for me, though, I think the USB rechargeable or those that have rechargeable batteries are awesome. But when it comes to things in your car, it's really easy to forget to charge things up again. So for me, I just keep regular alkaline battery flashlights. One right there, like I said, under the radio in the dash, and one in the console, and one in my bug out bag if I'm going longer distances, and then another flashlight in my get home bag. So I had those bases covered pretty well with light. And then I also like to have a small garbage bag, because it never fails that if I have to blow my nose or something, where do you put the tissue, And so you can have like a little garbage bag under your seat, or maybe depending on how your console's laid out, maybe have it there. And so basically just have a place to put garbage. The last thing I would like to mention here, because I think I've covered everything but this, and yes, I have. So the last thing would be, and this just for me, I like to have this, on the back of my seat, and I can still grab it though with one arm. And this is, of course, if you're in a car wreck, God forbid, and if you're stuck and pinned in your own vehicle and you're bleeding profusely, you want to have some kind of trauma kit, and possibly even just a regular first aid kit. But for me, very much so, a trauma kit that you can grab and use. Okay, including a tourniquet. We're talking about a real trauma kit. So this is going to be very valuable. And, even if you don't use it on yourself, you can at least have quicker access so that you can maybe help other people. And so this is my layout. I'm sure there's a lot of other things you could add, or maybe you don't even need all these things. But this is just the stuff that I like to have within arm's reach when I'm driving. Thanks for your support. You guys take care.